ninti nipa ekuku ahodo bebre pa na hyemu ehyefa na we no kra de ye maamenom ahemafo ahodo bi e wo man Ghana mu QUEENMOTHERs wo mu hyemu ene koso na saa hyemu no ye fa bi free mantem ahodo ni nia wo mu ene wo mu adwadie mu ene hyiaye ene afufuru bi a wono mo so se wo mo hwe se ne ya heme yi ene dwadifo wo mu eye wo mu nema oban Ghana mu ayo mfa yi pa ne nti wo mpese o mu di o musika so masen ye kan investors yi bi ena ehyiaye na we de eye kwan ahodo a wo mo hwe so se wo mo bema ye ma no agina o mo na so wodwedie titiri mu kwan ne nti no Fazam Kamal Abadi wono ye founder edema Future Trends Group wachirechire neti asamere wo mo ne mamefo eni ahyiaye ene de do mo eniso ase wo mbeye ama ye mameno
is across the continent. It's continent wide, 5 countries, and it is about the domestic wealth generation ability, not waiting for foreign handouts. No need for foreign aid, no need for foreign direct investments, no need for NGOs, no need for humanitarian aid. The wealth has always been in Africa, by Africa, for Africa, by the people. They can develop it themselves. They can build the infrastructure themselves. They can create the mega agricultural systems themselves without even need for support from outside of Africa. But the mind doesn't think this way. Everybody is waiting for either handouts or we cannot do it, you must come and how much investments are you bringing in? All of that. No. You are the ones who has all the capital, all the money, and you can invest out. You are net giver, not receiver. And Africa that is not beggar, but is actually mega contributor. That's why we have a program that African governments will issue official outbound foreign debt into Europe. Europe becomes a receiver because they are becoming poor. And we don't want them to be poor, but we will help them from Africa. So Africa is the source, has been the source, will be the source. Be the source, have source mentality. And yes, it looks as if impossible, difficult, we don't have technology, we don't have infrastructure, but everybody builds themselves. Chinese didn't wait for foreign money to build themselves. They built it themselves, they became super rich, they started giving the money out. So Africa, it's time to think differently, to believe in yourself and build the nation yourself from your internal situation.
Chairman Edema Festa Africa Festival. Also, as a minor Ebeka in one boom na fe new Quasono, you say, ye agree, Bakwa, he waited me as a serious.
The program you have here is Surprise Rise of Africa. From the angle of Africa needs to rise vertically in a very short time. Waiting for a linear development of the continent is very unnecessary and not needed. It's for years we've been talking about Africa is the future. I'm tired of hearing that Africa is the future. Africa is not the future. Africa is now. Calling Africa the future is an excuse for failure. It's what people say, okay, it's the future, so if it does not happen in my lifetime, I can blame it on the next people. So what we are doing here is come together with Future Trends, Festac Africa, Inspire Africa Connect, coming together and say, how can we help Africa rise very quickly? We have an MOU with the Future Trends to work together and bring in the value of cultural emancipation and mind openness into helping Africa rise very quickly. So you ask me how and why. I'll take you back to colonization. Post-colonization, our leaders of Africa sat back and said, how do we erase the imaginary line that separates our countries from one another on the continent? The interesting thing is that we have lines that say this is Ghana, this is Togo, this is Ivory Coast, but there's no war.
Nekakremu on Komonumu no Faramas Ramani CEO and founder at the Magics Australia. And so actually same say ye can Africa dia yen and ko say ye wosika papa free say and the body wa dum be mo papa body and papa and e dua yen sase mo ani tie mraso say ye be mo ni ada honom na ama aye mfaso de e de ama ebiman ade hye ni a ekwakwemu o kire so man Ghana kasa so wo hwe se ne ya ho gie mu ya ho gie mu e wo gina ne naso pa de a and the Hubia say a befa sa quine maybe so. Actually, Padodo na ba or my gun and Mona won't do Sika. I bet your mind.
The way we see it, and I've always had this all the way from childhood, that Africa is the gem of the entire planet. The planet Earth, Africa is the mother. This is the cradle of the civilization. This is where we all came from. And right from childhood, I've always had a very soft corner for Africa, and I've always wanted to come here and be able to help and to be able to support the economy in one way or the other. And now that I have the tools and I have the knowledge and the expertise and the contacts across the world, I'm here. All the way from childhood, I made myself the promise, and I'm here now to fulfill that promise, to make sure that things are done, and to make sure that, you know, we do things that are good for our planet in the first place. At the same time, it's good for Africa. After all, I believe that we're all the fruits of one tree and the leaves of one branch. So as it goes, you know, it doesn't matter what you can do, what field you're in, whatever activities you do,